So before this video begins, this isn't an instructional video by any means. I'm just giving my thoughts on this range of products. It is made for a general audience, though slightly older, as I do swear, so younger people, please click off. You have no idea how mad I am at this stuff. Also, this is unscripted. This is just me sort of rambling about this awful range of products, so yeah, that should cover my ass, right? Right, on with it then.
2024 marks Hornby celebrating 70 years of being in their headquarters at Margate in Kent. Something only Hornby would ever really want to celebrate, because I'm sure the average modeller probably didn't even have any idea that this was a thing. To celebrate 70 years of being at Margate, Hornby have introduced a special range of limited edition products which will be shown right now. This includes 4 repainted Hornby 040s which date back to a 1990s Thomas the Tank Engine model, a repainted Ginty which dates back as far back as the 1950s with the original Triang Ginty, a special wagon, and 2 resin cast replicas of their Margate headquarters and their Margate factory. Now, the first question that comes to mind is, who is this actually for? Hornby say that you can make a layout based on the Margate headquarters using the special models, but who actively wants to make a layout based on Hornby's Margate headquarters? This is more so just an ego boost for Hornby than it is for actual railway modellers. I guarantee most people who buy these are going to have a look at them, realise how awful the liveries are, and probably repaint them into something much nicer. Secondly, why Hornby continues to rehash these old toolings for limited edition models is beyond me. They did it with the Beatles range and they're doing it with this. For Ginty, I can actually see somewhat working with some tweaks to the livery. Namely, red buffer beams would have made this look so much better. Because the body actually dates back to the original Triang tooling of the 1950s, I reckon that with some tweaks it could look like something Rovex would have produced back then, maybe as a promotional item to put on a tabletop railway in a storefront to promote the Triang Railway's name. But it just does not work, it looks awful, especially with black buffer beams, and they need to go back to the drawing board with this. The 040s are where everyone seems to have the most issues, and I agree with them entirely here. Because they use that old Thomas the Tank Engine tooling, the liveries just do not work whatsoever. They look like a character called Gerald who you'd find on DeviantArt while scrolling through your My Little Pony Vor inflation porn. He has demons, he's best friends with the Team Fortress 2 engineer, and he hates it when you say his trigger word of skibbity toilet rizg sigma. Trust me, I hate myself for saying that just now. And it's not like Hornby couldn't make a replica of the original body either. I've seen many people commenting on their socials that they should do this, and I thought that with the cost of toolings and all that, it probably wouldn't be doable, but I'm remembering the Bassett Loke steampunk range, and if I recall correctly, they actually cast those models in resin using a master copy that was made by whoever made the original steampunk designs. They could have quite easily taken a Nelly body which they bought off of eBay for less than £5, modified it to fit the new 040 chassis and cast that in resin and use that instead. But no, because they're Hornby, they can't afford to put effort into anything anymore and they have to use what they've got to hand, no matter how awful it looks. And then of course there's the price, which will be the last thing I'm talking about. They want to charge you £50 for the 040s, which is about what they charge for every other 040, and then I want to charge £65 for the Ginty, which is again is about what they charge for the Railroad 060s. This is not worth it. The 060s have that awful Type 7 motor which they've had for donkey's years. Even then, the older examples seem to run far better. Likewise, the 040s, they got downgraded at some point in the last decade, and they no longer have the stupidly funny high-speed motor, which for some reason runs better than the new ones they have. I've owned one of the 2020 040s, and that burnt out not even a month after getting it, and it's now on an older chassis, which runs stupidly fast, but it's a lot smoother and more reliable. I think possibly the best comparison for this could be the original 040s and the original Ginty. I've got 3 040s, I've got a Nelly, or I've got 2 Nellys, and a 2550. These together cost me £35. The first Nelly came from eBay in 2020, and that cost me £20. The 2550 cost me £10 in 2023, and then the other Nelly cost me £5 from a model train show last month. All of these run surprisingly well given their age and cost, and dare I say it, they are better than the modern equivalents. Likewise, my Ginty I got for £12 from eBay in 2023, which was sold as a non-runner, and about an evening with it, and I had it running. And I was even lucky enough to find it has one of these Synchrosmoke units, which is its whole own thing, which I highly recommend looking into. And all of that works perfectly fine after a little bit of servicing. And together, that cost me less than the brand new 040s they've got out. So, considering I can do that, I can get 4 locos just shy of the cost of one of them having an operating smoke generator, really says a lot about the modern state of these toolings. Hornby, they need to be retired and completely redone, or at the very least upgraded significantly to make them worth the price that you're charging for them. Of course, Hornby being Hornby, this is probably never going to happen. So my advice to all of you, steer clear of the 70 years at Margate range. Some of the things do sound quite nice. I mean, like the buildings, they could be quite nice collector's pieces, but the locomotives, stay clear of them. If you want them that badly, go get the originals. They look nicer, run better, and are easier to maintain because they have big open frame motors that are really easy to take apart and very simple electrical circuits with hardly any wires. If you have trouble running them on your modern track, for the 040s, get yourself a busted up Hornby 040 and do a wheel swap. Likewise with the Ginty, swap the wheels from another Railroad 060. And then they should run quite nicely on your Code 100 track, provided you get the wheel quartering correct. Aside from that though, that's the only advice I can give. Just steer clear of this range. If they do drop in price and you're interested, by all means go for it, but aside from that, don't touch this range.